I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And a happy Sunday fun day to everybody out there. Scott Duff here along with Ellen Miller.
Yes, indeed. Good morning, Scott Duff.
Good morning. How are you on this chilly, gray? We're back to Maycember.
We are.
We are back to Maycember, where it's going to be, if snow happened after this week.
Yeah.
Girl, I mean, it's been such a weird, like, end times weather.
I heard him.
I was rooting for Amy Coney Barrett. Like, what is happening here? What is going on here?
That's nuts.
It is nuts and cuckoo pants. But we've got a fabulous show.
Of course we do.
Today for you. Alderwoman Lenny Mana Hoppenworth from the 48th Ward is going to be joining us later this hour. Her Green Social Housing Initiative passed this week in City Council. So we're going to find out a little bit more about what that is. How it's going to benefit the ward, the city of Chicago, and, of course, dive into fun things that are coming up. We need some fun things.
Yes, we need the joy.
We need some fun and some joy. And, girl, there was the Renegade Arts Festival that happened in Andersonville.
I love that, yeah.
I know. We were walking to Gethsemane, and we're like, look, crafts!
It's back.
It's back. It's summertime. So street fair season's coming up. We're going to check in to see what's going on with the Alderwoman and the 48th Ward.
Fantastic.
And Pegasus Theater Chicago's. You know, they have won 77 Jeff Awards.
Wow.
Over their time. I know. They reimagine and celebrate Shea Youngblood's Shaking the Mess Out of Misery, a story of a young black girl's coming of age during the turbulent 60s. And we're going to be chatting with producing artistic director of Pegasus and the director of the show, Elijah Duncan, in the second hour. And I'm so happy to have them back. Actor, writer, educator, activist. There's so many things that they do. Will Wilhelm is currently performing a revival of their hit solo show, Gender Play, or What You Will, as a part of Steppenwolf's Lookout series. And we're going to chat with them in the second hour. Because, you know, we like artsy-fartsy stuff.
We do.
Around here. And there's nothing better than...
That's part of the joy that we're talking about.
It is. It is. And the joy also comes from hearing from you.
Indeed.
So give us a call at 773-763-9278. The number again is 773-763-9278. Of course, you can find us on Facebook, where we are coming at you live. Just head on over there. And you can listen live every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at 8:20 a.m. on TuneIn from heartlandsignal.com, or watch the live video stream on the WCPT Facebook page or the Heartland Signal YouTube page. And while you're at it, follow WCPT and Heartland Signal on all of the socials. You had a crazy whirlwind trip to New York City.
You know, New York never disappoints. And I always say, we got to come every year. And it was 7 years since I was there last. But
it's been a hot second since I've been there, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's right there. I mean, it's easy to get to. You know, there's a million flights. They're usually
just don't go to Newark.
Just don't fly.
Just don't fly into Newark. Just like Transportation Secretary Duffy just said. He made sure his wife was not flying out of Newark. Yeah, that's
a confidence level
there we are,
right now in American aviation. But one of the main reason we went was because my dear friend actor Natalie West, with a Red Orchid Theater Ensemble, opened a show called Revolution that they debuted here in Chicago in 2023. It was a play that was written with Natalie in mind as the lead character by Brett Naveau, and the wonderful Michael Shannon, who's also a part of a Red Orchid, decided to produce it in New York. So he produced it, and it was a joy to behold. It's a 3-person show. It's 3 women. You know, it's interesting. Brett has the ability to have the voicings of 3 women and really tap into
and get it.
Yeah. You know, and
Jerry's really good at that too.
Yeah. I mean, and Brett is not a gay man. I would think, is he a gay man doing this? No, he's a wonderful playwright, wonderful. And we saw the show twice here in Chicago, opening night and closing night. Different director, obviously different production, but you know, I loved. As I asked Brett at the post party, you know, how did this one compare to the original? And he said, I love the original. I adore this one.
Oh, wonderful.
And I feel the same way. The director Rebecca, what's Rebecca's last name? Anyway, Rebecca Harris, who was lovely. She brought a different performance out, and the actors from New York that portrayed the two younger women in the show were just fantastic.
All right.
They're much, they're very experienced in film and TV, and it was just...
But film and TV don't necessarily translate into theater.
Well, and theater.
Okay, I'm just saying, like...
They're actors. They're theater actors. They've done, but they're a little... I should have just said they had more experience than probably the two actors in Chicago that did it, potentially.
We need to double-check that, because we don't want to be talking smack about our Chicago actors over here.
The Chicago actors were great, don't get me wrong.
Come on now.
These women brought a little something different to the role that I appreciated very much.
Cool, and this was... Wait, my brain kind of went away.
Yeah.
This was opening night, right?
Opening night, Thursday night at the Flea Theater, which when you look at the board, all the people that have contributed, you're like, wow. All these heavies. It's a neat theater in Tribeca. It was absolutely a beautiful night. And Natalie, she got her roses, baby. She got her accolades, and I'm hoping great things.
She's a good one.
She's a gem. It was the first time she ever opened a show or did a show in New York.
That I find so hard to believe, because she is just like, she's an actor's actor.
Well,
she is always a part of, the Chicago. She's definitely a huge part of Red Orchid.
Oh, yes.
She's always working on something. It surprises me that she hasn't done anything in New York.
I think part of it is, she's been a mom to two kids and a dedicated mom. And, her, some people, you have to have that, you want to do that. You want to go and spend months at a time in another city. That hasn't been her thing. But, her kids are grown now.
Yeah.
And one of the leading Hollywood casting directors, who's a friend of a friend, came to the show and loved her.
Amazing.
So you never know what is going to happen. We had fun at the post party.
Was Buckethead Michael Shannon there?
He was filming in Australia, and my friend Natalie and her husband are staying at his condo in Brooklyn. But he flew in yesterday for the show and was flying out to London to do another thing. So,
wow. All right.
So
he's so talented. He's so tall, and he has the biggest bucket head on the planet.
Have a bucket
he has
head.
A very large bucket head.
He is a nonstop workaholic.
Yeah.
But he had a vision of bringing this to New York, and
was this the first time he's produced something?
To my knowledge.
Wow. All right. Come on. Add that to the list.
So we left the party, and I have to tell this little anecdote. We're just aimlessly wandering around. It's like, we're in New York, we're only here 2 nights, and maybe we could find some live music. But it was kind of, truth be told, the neighborhood we were in, Tribeca, Soho, there were a lot of restaurants and bars happening, but no live music. And we just turned.
You got to go more downtown for that,
right? Or the Village. If you go to Bleecker Street, there was more happening there too. But I'm standing we're crossing this corner, and I see what looks like a friend of ours. I know her through another dear friend, but I've known her for many, many years. Met in New Orleans in the 90s. And I'm like, is that Norina? Norina! And she's like, what? And it's my friend Norina.
Okay.
Who, last time we were in New York, we were all hanging together.
Uh-huh.
We've only been in New York a matter of hours. She's like, oh my God, what are you doing here? I said, I just came to play. And just random. Just random.
Right.
She had produced a salon with some major, I can't remember their names, Paul and these major musicians. This guy was married to Ricky Lee Jones, one of them, and it was a major guitar player. And she was saying her goodbye. She said, I'm going to meet some friends for a nightcap. Would you like to join me? And she's had some high heels on. She grabbed me by the arm. We helped her walk a couple blocks. And she says, come on in. I go, sure. Well, we have nothing else to do.
Yeah.
She goes, one of them is my friend Russ, who is a legendary American record producer. I'm like, Russ Titleman. I go, I know that name. Well, we go in there. There's this woman named Kelly, who's an actor. I don't know her last name. Another woman named Bridget, whose birthday it was, who's a TV sitcom writer. And Russ Titleman and Gary, who's a musician, and our friend Norina, Kathy. We just had a fabulous evening. A couple of hours just talking. The restaurant was closed, but we were hanging out. It turns out Russ, he has produced some little albums like Eric Clapton's Journeyman, Unplugged, Randy Newman's Sail Away, Chaka Khan, I Feel For You, James Taylor, George Harrison, Ricky Lee Jones, Steve Winwood, Brian Wilson. I know
none of those people.
He is
what are you talking
one
about?
of the...
That's amazing.
He is one of the greats in especially from my generation.
Oh, yeah. Those are all those are legendary artists.
And we had a ball telling stories. I was telling stories. They were telling stories. it's only something that can happen in New York.
Yeah.
It only can happen in New York. So we went home on cloud nine between Natalie's performance and having this lovely hour or so.
The randomness that is New York.
Of meeting Norina. It was just like, wow, we just got here today. Then the following day, we got up and we did our walk to Times Square, which is about 3 miles each way. Mm-hmm. And there he was, the naked cowboy.
Naked cowboy.
And I actually have met him several times because he grew up. He grew up in Cincinnati, and he's a friend of my cousin. So
weird.
I walk up to him and I'm go, "Hey, I'm Bill Christos' cousin," and we start talking, and he pulls out the guitar and I pull out the harmonica.
Of course you do.
And then he wants Kathy to record it because he wants to put it on Instagram, and we got a crowd of people around us, and that happened.
All right, yeah.
We did Country Roads by John Denver.
All righty.
And then that night, we had bought tickets in advance to the famous Bitter End. The Bitter End is the oldest rock and roll club in New York that's still going.
Okay.
And that, if you watched A Complete Unknown, which I started watching on the way home again last night because we were in all the neighborhoods and places where so much of it took place. Mm-hmm. The Rolling Thunder Review was the Dylan show he did in the 70s. It was the 50th anniversary of this show. And they did it with local musicians at the Bitter End, where Bob Dylan played.
All right.
And it was a benefit for the New York Civil Liberties Union. And we're like, oh, great. We're going to donate to something positive. We're going to see Bob Dylan music. And it was an early show, which was great because we went to dinner at 9:30 afterwards. And there was a woman who spoke, and her name is... her name is Donna Lieberman. She is the executive director of the New York Civil Liberties Union. She's done a few things, like was the co-counsel to Edie Windsor in the lawsuit that struck down the Defense of Marriage Act in the Edie Windsor case, among other things. But she spoke in between a set change, and one of the things, Scott, that really stuck with both Kathy and I, we were like literally welled up in tears listening to her. She's defending that the young man who's in jail, whose wife gave birth while he was in jail, among other things. But she said, if you are not an immigrant, if you are not trans, if you're not one of the people that's in the crosshairs right now, the onus is on you to stand up and fight for. And it was just felt good to be there. I mean, it was cool to be there anyway, but being in the presence of someone like Donna.
Well, and I mean, you're supporting an organization that is clearly fighting the good fight. You're there listening to Dylan music, so you've got a little bit of like that protesty vibe going on. Yeah, right there. I can just see how it's like an amazing moment.
The crowd was all pretty much our age. It was as you might expect. It was one of 3 shows. It was an early show, so. Just, I can't say enough about the couple of days that we experienced.
How wonderful.
Being in New York, and the wonderful people we met. I did gain a couple pounds, so I must go being in New Orleans one week and New York the following week is not good for the diet. But,
girl.
It's just not. But I'm home. I'm home for the duration. I'm now no travel plans. So time to get healthy. But
so when did you all leave?
We left Thursday morning.
Okay, so you got out before.
Yeah,
before all the kookiness that started happening on Thursday.
We missed all of it. Yeah.
Girl, it was...
I heard it was weird.
It was so freaking weird. I mean, we experienced all 4 seasons in about 3 days.
I heard.
Because it was got like 90 degrees on, was it Wednesday and Thursday?
Yeah,
or was
we missed the warm weather.
It was really, really hot. And then Thursday, so I get this... I love my patio.
Yes,
my patio. And Thursday is my Friday. So I'm sitting here looking outside. I'm like, no rain. No, because I'm grilling a steak tonight. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be outside. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do this. Stop it. You're not going to do this. I get home Thursday, kind of start getting everything ready. And then it kind of starts to do things. So I'm like, all right. I love a storm. Like, I really, really, really love... just love being in. I love a thunderstorm.
Yeah, I
do too. And we don't really have them here. Like growing up in suburban St. Louis and then living in the South, you get some really amazing thunderstorms and lightning storms, and. So I'm just kind of out there. I'm like, it's not really going to do anything, And I had the umbrella up. I'm like, oh, it's not going to do anything. And then I'm like, oh, it's starting to do things. So I went into we've got a little vestibule that goes into our courtyard. So it's covered. So I'm like, I'm just going to ride this out here.
So
I can watch it.
Mm-hmm.
It was cuckoo bananas. I probably should not have. I kind of got stuck there.
Flying like monkeys.
No, but like branches were falling. Like I live on.
We got out
I live on
night.
a stretch of
a lot of trees
where there are a lot of trees, and there are a lot of old trees.
Yeah.
I mean, the giant limbs were falling onto the street outside. I'm like, what? We had stuff falling into the courtyard. I was trying to take pictures, like send videos. Like, I don't think you can see this. Like, the storm was just
now, was this
crazy.
The dust thing, or
no? This was Thursday.
Thursday, okay.
So Thursday, and we're just kind of watching, and then it finally, like, it lasted about a half an hour, but it was very intense. And there was like, flotsam and jetsam everywhere. And I was like, all right, it's finally time to cook. And Jerry's just kind of like chilling out inside or whatever. And I walk out. And I look up at the sky, and I'm like, Jerry, you've got to come here. And then we stepped outside. I will show you pictures and video. This crazy collection of sky and of clouds. Mm-hmm. And it was a giant electrical storm that was just like floating over the city. I mean, lightning bolts all over it. It was moving out over the lake.
Yeah.
Beyonce was supposed to be there.
Right.
And I think they had to cancel her show on Thursday.
No, they postponed it. She finished at 1, I heard. They had to start it late.
On Thursday or Friday? Because Fridays also got screwed up because that was also some rain. And that was when the giant dust bowl came along. I was just waiting for like the frogs and locusts to show up because it was
dust. Where does the dust come from? I didn't understand that at all.
It came from DeKalb.
Okay.
It was just very, very windy because it was so hot and we haven't had a lot of rain.
So it was just.
We had this crazy torrential storm followed by this weird lightning show that was just kind of like Jerry and I stood there for about 5 minutes just going, I can't believe, what is this?
Now, did you see dust too?
And then Friday.
Oh, that was Friday, yeah.
Friday, because we were also out there planting stuff because we've been planting all weekend. Jerry's like, we got to go inside. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, there's this, neighbors are coming out. Did you just get a dust warning? I'm like, I guess, yeah. There's a huge dust cloud that came through Chicago.
I saw pictures.
It was
nuts.
So cuckoo bananas that I'm like, all right, this feels like an extinction event. I'm like, all right, what's going on?
Between the two back to back.
I know, it was crazy. But we survived.
Did you make the steak?
I did. Okay. Made a lovely steak salad
okay.
On Thursday. And then Friday, I did a Chinese 5-spice grilled spatchcock chicken with a charred scallion sauce.
Nice.
Charred scallion sauce and grilled asparagus.
Very good.
And then we ordered pizza yesterday.
Where'd you order from?
Actually, we didn't order. We went to the grocery store. We have some frozen pizzas.
Okay.
That's cheaper.
They make some good ones.
Let me tell you.
The Uno frozen and the Geno's
Home
are
run
good.
in Chicago, baby. Home run in. Extra thin crust. Tavern style. Cut it up into squares.
Not bad at all.
It's real good.
Zhuzh it up a little bit with some extra things, and there you go.
Oh, yeah. But Jerry gets mad at me because I like to put anchovies on mine.
Oh, well, yeah, no.
He's going like, there's so many anchovies. I'm like, well, you're not eating it. He's like, but I got to smell it.
Yeah, I hear him on that.
Oh, my gosh. Y'all.
I like it cut up really small in a Caesar salad. I don't like big hunks of the anchovy. It's just too strong. But anyway, we survived it all, apparently.
We survived. It literally was. I will show you video of this lightning storm that we got. Jerry got a better one, but I will show you the one what I have.
Crazy.
Anyway, oh my gosh, we flew past. We've got to take a break.
Yes, do.
We do. But before we do that, this part of Out Chicago is brought to you by Team Hochberg. If you are purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Now, Suzanne's got a lot of things. She called David after hearing him explain about discount points on the radio because her son was purchasing a home in Colorado. Now, David, of course, answered Suzanne's questions and encouraged her son to call him for a free consultation. Suzanne, ever the poet, was so impressed with the service David provided that she wrote this 5-star Google review.
Nice.
It's poetry. I sent David an email today with a question about discount points that I'd heard him speak about on the radio, and he called me back this evening with a complete explanation. Exclamation point. I'm so impressed with his responsiveness and knowledge. Well, David strongly encourages everyone to check out Team Hochberg's more than 500 five-star Google reviews from happy listeners and poets like Suzanne. Team Hochberg helped Suzanne and thousands of WCPT listeners, but they can't help if you don't call 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843 and 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be chatting about the news of the week, news of note. We'd love to hear from you, 773-763-9278. So stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
Welcome back. I'm writer and activist Stacey Anshin. You are listening to Out Chicago on WCPT 820.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott up here along with Ella Miller, rolling along. Yeah. We would love to hear from you, 773-763-9278. And hey, guess what? You can also text us.
Wow,
that's crazy. The Credo mobile phone and text line is the same number, 773-763-9278. Credo Mobile, a progressive phone company that is better for all people and the planet. Visit credomobile.com. Do you like to text? I mean, do you prefer texting over talking?
Well, I have no choice because the world prefers texting over talking.
Yeah.
There's so many times I'm like, do I really have to text all this? Can I just pick up the phone and tell you this in person? So
yeah.
I do that on occasion, but I just
You just said do.
I do. I do.
You do that.
But I know my audience, and you know, again, if you're dealing with younger people, particularly my clients.
Oh, heck yeah. They do not want to talk on the phone at all.
You know, I have a nephew I text. He doesn't even text back, so I don't know how to get to him.
Well, that's just a nephew thing. And he's what, how old? Which one? The 16 or 18?
The one that'll be 19 in a couple weeks.
Oh, well,
yeah,
there we go.
But yes, I'm with you. I do like to talk to people, and sometimes and they understand. I go, you know, I'm just going to call you because there's too much
information.
I don't want to be writing it to you. I want to talk to you.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely a generational thing.
Yes.
Because I hate it. I don't like looking at my email on my phone.
Yeah, I know.
Especially because they just shut up. I don't want to know because it's like also there was a weird update on the phones and now it's separates things differently.
Priority.
I'm like, what is this? This is just confusing. It doesn't make any sense. And also it's tiny and I make all these typos. I would rather talk to somebody.
It's tiny. I make typos too. My wife, you know, is like you know, she's younger and she's of another generation. But when we travel and we're separately, we hardly ever talk on the phone. We text the whole time. And there's other friends of mine who are on the phone with their spouse. And I don't mind the texting because we're on the go.
Well, yeah, but if you're on the go, I mean, there are times to text, but there are times to call.
I agree.
Know?
I totally agree.
It's so funny too because especially with again with younger folks, I've been very aware of just the vibe these days. People, there's just a weird energy all over the place these days. You know, have you encountered it? Like, you can't really put your finger on it, but people are slightly on edge or they're more depressed. Or like whatever,
yeah,
and like
there's an underlying current of concern in this country among people that care.
Yeah,
well, which are most of our friends.
Well, even people who don't care. You know what I mean? I feel like they're like. I mean, I don't know because I interact with a ton of people. I don't know what their political affiliations are. I don't know how involved they are, how close they are keeping up with the news or anything. But there's definitely like a vibe that is going around. And you know, a coworker of mine was like, "This person is." There was a kind of a weird drama thing that kind of popped up between two coworkers, and they were like texting it out. And I went, "Stop it!" I went, "Stop!" Like, call this person, or just like meet this person face to face.
Face to face, right?
Because you can't discern tone over email or text. You can't. It's just like get off. Stop doing that and just interact with people directly. You'd be amazed at how much you can get accomplished.
Yes, and you look at someone in the face, there's nothing that can replace that.
Yeah.
And, you know, we have relationships still with people, and we're one-on-one with them. I agree. I think it's gotten kind of crazy, the fact that people have relied so much on the written word.
And the isolationism that's going on, too. Yeah. Because, like, half the people that come into the store have headphones on or earbuds in, and they're listening to whatever. They're not paying attention. They're I mean, it's just people they don't want to interact with folks. They don't want to talk on the phone.
No, they don't want to talk on the phone. That's just something. And I think the era of COVID, especially with a certain age group, that when they were really, they were by themselves, they were, isolated. It became even more prevalent that the only way to meet people was through electronics to communicate with people.
No.
So that, I think, has had a lasting effect as well on younger people.
I know, and people keep talking about, like, depression and that they're not happy and the blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it's because you don't interact with people.
You don't press the flesh. You got to hug people and smile at people. Quick aside I wanted to share about Joy. Yesterday in New York, we were walking around for our last few hours, and they had a dance parade.
All right.
This was going through the village. It's literally, this was like a float after float after float of every kind of dance group, kids, adults, people of a certain size that were doing it for fun. It was the most joyous thing you've ever seen. And I thought, you know what?
I wonder if my friend was in that.
Oh, my God.
She's got a dance company.
You have to ask them. I mean, it was a lot of kids, but it was a lot of, there was Mexican dancing. There was Eastern European dancing. There were people dancing for fitness. It was just, we videoed a lot. I have to post some pictures. But I was thinking to myself, this is a city that's not going to let the joy stop them. They're not going to let the world stop their joy.
All right.
And it was just, I was like dancing on the sidelines. We need to do this in Chicago. They do a parade every Saturday, a different parade. That's what the police.
Where?
It was right down.
Was it in the village?
In the village.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
But it really blocked a lot of traffic.
Of course.
The cops were everywhere directing. But, I just thought this is really great.
There we go.
Yeah.
I know. We
cool.
just need more human interaction. That's what I've decided.
Yes, we do. And more dancing.
And always more dancing.
Always.
Always more dancing.
Indeed.
There we go. So anyway, the news this week.
Yeah.
Well, today was the inauguration of the Pope.
Oh, it's today, huh?
Today was his first, the official, the inauguration.
And the bloom's coming off the rose a little bit for some of us.
The Jenny convertible lover was there.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Great. And it's, here's the thing. So the Pope also officially stated that marriage is between one man and one woman. This should be no shocker.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
we were hoping, but
no, yeah. Well, not on the first day.
Well, because Francis said, who am I to judge?
Well, no, but Francis also, here's the thing. So we thought that he was going to be taking the same page from Francis, but we have to remember, Francis, he said, who am I to judge?
Right.
Which is great.
Yes.
And he would not do same-sex marriages. He would he promoted blessing same-sex couples, but blessing the couple and not the marriage. So that's the kind of vibe. I mean, truthfully, were you expecting, especially like day one?
No. Heck no.
Of all that. But, I guess we'll see.
He can evolve, hopefully more. That's what we can hope for.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but we shall see what's going on there. But, again, everybody who's like up in arms, it's like, look, this is how many thousands of years of doctrine. Yeah.
It's not going to change.
It ain't going to change. It ain't going to change. And it may not even change overnight. I mean, just not to change. We just kind of have to deal with that and understand. Yeah. Yes. That's why people are leaving the Catholic Church. So, there's that. Now, Episcopalians, they're real good about that. They're real good about marrying people.
They are.
They are.
We like them.
We do. My sister.
Indeed.
Me, my family. There we are. Anyway.
Now the Greeks, no. The Greek Orthodox,
No. Well, they just want you to be tired because they want to do all their services starting at midnight. I don't understand. Well, it seems to me like every week their church is like 18 hours long, starts at 10 o'clock at night, and you're going to keep going. Apparently, there's a lot of food afterwards, but you got to lose some pounds, is what you just said. Yes. So there we go.
Yeah, not
no more. We're done with that. Anyway.
Yeah.
So good luck to you, the Pope.
Yeah.
You realize he's got there's been a huge line of the Pope merch that's been flying out of here.
The Pope.
Well, yeah, playing cards, trading cards.
Not
the Pope, Pope Leo the 14th trading cards are actually exceeding the sports players. Sports players.
I know what you mean.
Who am I?
You are Scott Duff.
Sports players.
Sports. We understand.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I know
like
exactly
the folks who like to chase after balls.
Yes, those guys.
Those guys. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. There I am. Mm-hmm. Anyway, and SCOTUS has been other news this week too. SCOTUS has been kind of SCOTUSing.
Well, they may be put on by Republicans and Democrats, but when it comes to being disrespected from what they're saying, I think they're all on the same page, and it's starting to bother them.
7 of them are.
Yeah, 7 of them.
7 of them are,
yeah.
But, the other 2.
Always, forget
those 2 ding-dongs.
Forget about those 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a big thing, though, but it came down 7-2
to support
to get rid of the Alien Enemies Act or whatever it is, that centuries-old wartime law. Mm-hmm. We're not in war. About deporting folks, so they were on board with that. That was pretty special.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you know what? They when it comes to they think highly of themselves, and that when someone is not listening to them, that gets them on the same page quickly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, but it's also what's so because of course MAGA is getting all upset. Here's what I don't think what MAGA really understands is that there are 3 co-equal branches of government. They don't understand about that there are 3 branches, and that's how checks and balances work, and how they act independently of each other. MAGA had their panties in a wad over they're going after Amy Coney Barrett. I think mostly because she's a woman and it's easy, and she's also making really good arguments.
Yeah,
again,
she's a constitutionalist.
So she's
and everything he's doing is against the Constitution.
Never thought I'd be rooting for her.
I had hoped because she's got children, ethnic. She's got African American children from Haiti.
She's got a bunch of kids,
and I would think she would have compassion for what is going on in this country when it comes to the racism that is, to me, being propped up as okay. It's okay to discriminate. I mean, I don't care what they say, but that's what they're basically saying. And I would think she was going to go.
Well, not just discriminate.
Well, they're changing history.
They're changing history. Yeah, they're deporting people without due process.
Due process.
There's all of it.
All of it. And, you got to get, even if you were put on there by, even if you're a conservative Catholic, at some point you have to have a backbone and say, wait, this isn't
right.
Yeah. So she is there, apparently.
Yeah. But MAGA is what are they doing? And even Ding Dong is sending, after getting although we talked about his plane last week.
Mm-hmm. No, well, that happened.
It was was
it announced last week?
Yeah, we talked about it at the end about it. It was a $400 million plane. I was like, that's coming.
Yeah.
I mistakenly said it was from Saudi Arabia. No, it's from Qatar.
Mm-hmm. Qatar.
There we are. What was I going to say about that? It was something very impressive, but it just went outside my head.
About Amy?
No, I don't know. Oh, Ding Dong. Yeah. Ding Dong was over there, over in the Middle East, right. And as he was leaving, he a flurry of social media posts coming out about the radical left has taken over the Supreme Court and they need to follow me. They're preventing me from doing what I was elected to do.
Doesn't matter about laws, and just then, about him.
But anybody who on the right who dares to just be like, hey, this might not be right. Every single one is primary them. You're going to be primaried. You're right.
That's what a dictatorship is.
I know.
That's how
I know.
Yep.
But it's we need to remind folks that, 3 co-equal branches of government.
If these people knew history and knew the Constitution, they probably wouldn't have voted, but the way they did. But sadly, they just follow what Fox TV and Newsmax and the rest of the crap they listen to. And they're not going to get a real picture of how America is supposed to work, how a democracy is supposed to work.
No. So we've got them. SCOTUS is kind of SCOTUSing pretty well right now, it seems. And another thing that has triggered the snowflakes of MAGA is FBI Director James Comey. They got really upset about a seashell post on Instagram. 8647.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, if you ever hear the term 86, what do you think?
I'm in a restaurant and they're out of it.
Thank you. Thank you. It's like we're done. We're done with it. If you were in a restaurant,
I worked in a restaurant. That's how I learned it.
That is young. Indeed. I think that's how a lot of people take it. Now, 86 is also some sort of weird, oldie timey Al Capone gangster thing about getting rid of somebody. About being 86. Don't know where the number came from. I should have done a little bit more research on that one. But it's just, but MAGA now is saying that he was calling for the assassination of Ding Dong, and that he should be jailed. Now, do you remember the time when Ding Dong reposted pictures of like a truck with a decal on the back of President Biden, hogtied on the back? Yeah, that was fine.
Sure.
When Sarah Palin put out all the crosshair things on there with Hillary.
Yeah,
with not just Hillary, with all these Democrats that were up there.
Yeah.
Do we remember that?
Oh, sure.
Do you remember that, MAGA? There was no big old outcry there.
Selective memory.
It's just, it's so weird. And I think to me, the biggest problem that we have is that we are all going to extremes right now, and nobody is meeting in the middle. No one is coming into the middle. And that's the part that's really like you've got your MAGA people over here who are just being dumb and racist and cruel, and the ladies are all getting that MAGA look with the too much plastic surgery and a lot of hair weaves and things and the lips. They're doing that, and then you have the people on the left who are screaming about who are just little piddly things to me, that are like being way too sensitive and looking out for everybody.
Well, that's what got us where we are.
That is where we are. Well, what's going on? But nobody is coming into the middle. And I remember I ran into Ben Jarofsky this week, and the last time that I did his podcast, it's been a while, and I was like, I'm really sad because right now you have half the country who thinks the other half is evil. And that works both sides. And that's kind of where we are. And nothing is going to get done until we can let go of some of that, have real conversations with people face to face.
Face to face.
Not text or not email or not on social media.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And that's what's going to change, how things are going to change.
Ever right now.
Anyway, you're going to chew on that right there. We need to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be chatting with Alderwoman Lenny Hoppenworth from the 48th Ward. So stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
I'm Honey West. Welcome to Out Chicago on WCPT.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller, rolling along.
Discussing our wardrobe for the upcoming June 1st Pride Parade at Buffalo Grove Pride.
We are. I know. We're very excited. We're going to be co-grand marshals of the Buffalo Grove Pride Parade on June 1st. Family-friendly event, and we're going to be broadcasting live from there.
Lots going to go on.
Lots going on there. I know, but hey, there's lots going on right now in the 48th Ward, and we are so excited that the 48th Ward Alderwoman, Lenny Hoppenworth's Green Social Housing Initiative passed City Council, which is good news for the ward and for Chicago. And joining us now is no other than Alderwoman Lenny Hoppenworth. Welcome back to the show.
Hello. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Ellen. It's great to be back.
It's good to have you.
We always love having you. How are you doing?
I'm good. This week we celebrated 2 years in office.
I know.
Many freshmen.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I remember the last time we spoke, you all were celebrating 10 years.
I know, and now we're in the middle of our 12th year. Yeah. Isn't that cuckoo bananas?
Cuckoo bananas.
It is cuckoo bananas. But hey, congratulations on the Green Social Housing Initiative. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about what the Green Social Housing Initiative is?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to talk about this, because this is something, and it's basically a tool that's going to help us build more affordable housing across Chicago.
Love it.
In a way that we have never been able to before, because traditionally we build affordable housing using federal subsidy. And we don't know what's happening at the federal government right now for I don't know how long.
Right.
So we in Chicago has taken it upon ourselves to use the bond money that we passed last year, of which it was $2.1 billion. We set aside $135 million of it towards housing and economic development. And green social housing is a tool that we're going to be able to use to unlock the funds in the processes to do that. And so it's my first big legislative win. It passed by a landslide, 30 to 18, and we're really excited, And one of the reasons why I was so proud to champion this as the primary sponsor with others, along with the legislative co-sponsors such as Walter Burnett, Angela Clay, Lamont Robinson, is because we need it. We need it all over the city. But in the 48th ward, of which I represent, is Edgewater and Uptown, and folks were coming up to me on the sidewalk, and especially young trans folks, saying that they moved here from Texas, from California, and they don't want to be displaced, but it's really hard to live it's just really hard to live, one, if you're a trans person,
right,
and of color, and then two, if your rents are skyrocketing like it is in the Edgewater area where our vacancies are so low, and in that it's really hard to build just generally. I wanted to find a policy that we could champion here in Illinois to be able to do that. And green social housing is the way forward for us in the city of Chicago. Not only is it financially sustainable, but it also points to ways that we have to center the environment. We need to build around public transit. And in Edgewater in particular, there are a lot of CTA public spaces that are being used right now for staging for the red and purple modernization project, of which, it's wrapping up. And so I want that parcel of land, if you can imagine it, on Broadway between Bryn Mawr and Hollywood to be one of the first to be built. So 70% market rate, 30 or to 40% affordability. And that's something that we want. What it will do is it will allow us to retain the diversity of which we love in this ward. And that includes across race and class and identity. And right now it's really hard because, again, all the things that I mentioned, and we want people to stay and we want more people to be here. All of it is going to help us bring people into the ward, people on the street, feet on the street, heads in beds, people on the street, but also to support our many small business corridors. I live in Andersonville. It's a terrific little, a couple block stretches, but we have a lot of business corridors around the 48th ward, which are struggling, of course, because of the pandemic and because of the reconstruction with the red line here. And so this is going to be another way to bring more people into the ward, to support our small businesses, to help expand our tax base, and to address public safety issues of which, we're all struggling with right now.
So, Lenny, when you say sustainable building practices, and what kind of technology or practice would come into the construction of these homes? I mean, are we talking, green roofs? Are we talking solar panels, recycled materials? Like what exactly is the sustainable part of the green initiative?
Exactly. Well, all of that points to what we already have in place right now, which is a sustainable development policy guidelines for bigger housing, which includes what we want, which is 70 units or more. So developers have a matrix that they can choose from, including all the things that you talked about, and also like affordable units actually adds to that. Bird migration practices to keep the birds safe. Things like that are in this matrix. And so developers can choose from that. But not only that, that's already in place. So not only that, but it is going to address the idea that we in Chicago we are so dense in public transit. And we want our public transit and our housing to work hand in hand so that people can live and thrive in the city of Chicago. By doing that, we're going to be able to say, we are not only affordable, but we can get you to where you need to go. Whether you own a business in this area or you work in a small business, you don't have to travel from the suburbs to get to work. You can live and you can play and you can exist within the city because we have all of this opportunity here, right here. It's like the opposite of suburban sprawl. If you can imagine that, it consolidates all of our resources, and that includes our utilities as well. So with green social housing, we expect that people, because of the way it's going to be built, we're going to be able to actually address the rising cost of utilities. So over $500 a year actually will be realized in cost savings through the green initiatives that these buildings will be able to come forward with.
Is that different than the TODs that they're building, the transit-oriented developments? Is it hand in hand with what?
It truly is hand in hand, and it falls in line with the idea that we need more housing around development, around transit, especially our red line. And also we need to improve our systems. Of course, our public transit system needs leadership right now, and we're very grateful for people who are stepping up to say that they, want to advocate for the CTA by taking the CTA. Please, everybody take the CTA, because only through that we can get feedback. And again, we want to be able to build closer to public transit, because that consolidates all of our resources, including utilities, it also enhances walkability of areas, right? Yep. Because you need to be able to get to the stations. And, in particular, in Edgewater right now, we've got a lot of things that we're working on, but green social housing is just one thing that's going to be able to bring more people into our ward and all across the city. The one thing I want to also just mention again is that this green social housing does not rely on federal subsidies. And usually when we build affordable housing, we use these low-income tax, it's LIHTC, low-income housing tax dollars from the federal government, and those are very scarce. And we work really hard to get one of those on the north side here on Broadway. It's going to be the first one in 50 years that Bickerdike is actually building. It's 90 affordable 100% affordable units on Broadway, but that was hard fought. And so what I'm saying is that this tool is going to be a way for us to build affordability, and then for other parts of the city to be able to use those LIHTC funds, of which it's very competitive to get those. So we want affordability everywhere. In this area, we want it so that it's a mixed. It's a mixed model, right? Mixed income, and it's also tenant led. So there are so many good things that are happening because of this, and it's just I'm very excited to get it forward, because it's new to Chicago, but it's not new to the nation. Because we're looking at Atlanta, we're looking at Montgomery County, we're looking we're looking worldwide, really, at other places that are struggling with affordability right now. And this is the one way that's equitable. It unlocks opportunity, and also it's locally focused with our finances.
Well, Alderwoman Lenny Hoppenworth, I'm sorry, our time is wrapping up real quickly, but I want to say congratulations to you for having this initiative get through City Council with such overwhelming approval. And thank you for, I know as you were running for office, how affordable housing and celebrating the diversity of our wards was a very, very big issue for you. So congratulations so much on doing this. And it's going to be an incredible impact, not just for the 48th ward, but for Chicago as a city. So thank you. Yeah. And I was really thinking about that bird migration thing too, because is the Montrose, is that part of your ward, that Montrose Harbor with the bird sanctuary?
It's not. It's just outside of the ward. That's in Alderwoman Clay's ward, but we're neighbors and we work together.
Absolutely, nice. But I don't think people realize how much of it's a big bird migratory stop there. Anyway, but we could have a whole other show about that. Lenny Hoppenworth, Alderwoman for the 48th ward. Thank you so much for taking time out to join us today. Congratulations on 2 years, and congratulations on the Green Social Housing Initiative. And have a fabulous day.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Ellen. I also want to shout out to you and congratulations on 12 years. And also for just being the voice, especially on Sundays, for folks who, might feel isolated and alone. You really are ones that are reaching out to the community and bringing people together. And that's what we need right now. Thank you for showing up.
Thank you so much. Alderwoman Lenny Hoppenworth. We've got to take a quick break. And when we come back, there is more Out Chicago right after this.
I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
Welcome back to the second hour of Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ella Miller, just rolling along here.
Yes,
We've got a fabulous second hour of guests, but hey, also what's even more fabulous too, not only can you call into the show, but you can also text us. Using the Credo mobile phone and text line, it's 773-763-9278. Hey, Credo Mobile, a progressive phone company that is better for all people on the planet. Visit credomobile.com. And while you're visiting that, you can also check out all the cool things. We've got some great artsy-fartsy stuff because, you know, we like the artsy-fartsy stuff.
We do.
A lot. Mm-hmm. We need it.
We do. We need the
it.
joy.
I know. And coming up a little bit later in the show, we're going to have playwright, writer, actor, Will Wilhelm going to be on the show. Mm-hmm. They're fabulous. They're doing a show down at the Steppenwolf's. But right now, I'm so very excited for our next guest because Pegasus Theater Chicago, which is the recipient of 77 Joseph Jefferson Awards.
Is that all?
That's a lot of play prizes.
That's a lot.
Right there. They have reimagined and are celebrating Shay Youngblood's Shaking the Mess Out of Misery, a story of a young black girl's coming of age during the turbulent 60s. And joining us now is the producing artistic director of Pegasus and director of the show, Elijah Duncan. Elijah, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Well, and thank you for taking us. I know you're probably en route to the theater because previews are happening right now. How are previews going?
Previews are going very well. It's very exciting.
It's fantastic. So tell folks a little bit about the story of Shaking the Mess Out of Misery by Shay Youngblood.
Sure. So the play is adapted from Shay's book called The Big Mama Stories. It came out of the short novel that she created about growing up and being raised by a community of women. And so it follows daughter who returns home after burying the last of her big mamas, and she reminisces about how these women took her in and raised her and helped her become a young woman.
And how...
I'm sorry?
No, I was going to let you finish. Sorry.
So I was saying, so some of it is because they share stories and experiences that they've had growing up and how teaching her lessons about different things, survival, healing, how to take care of yourself, how to regard other people, and move through the world as a young black girl in the 60s.
And it's kind of a coming of age story where they the voices of black women elders play a role, is it not, in this?
That's exactly when I'm saying big mamas, they are the black women elders of that community. Some related to her, and most of them aren't.
What do you think it says about the intergenerational wisdom and memory of women, black women in particular?
I think it says that we learn a lot, that historically, right, we learn a lot from our elders and from those who come before us. And especially if you're in a situation, because her mother is not there, that they become her, as she calls them, her big mamas. And so I think it is an important lesson for all of us that we learn at the feet of those who tread these waters before we.
Yeah. Now, you directed this this play in 2017, and now this is the 2025 interpretation of it. What has your journey been with this play? Like, when did you first encounter the work of Shay Youngblood, and how has it evolved from the 2017 production?
I first encountered Shay's work in the 90s, early in my directing career, but I had the the honor to meet her. She came to the 2017 production.
Oh, wow.
And, of course, I talked to her again, and she was in town and came to the production, did a post-show discussion with us, and it was just amazing. And I wanted to really honor her by doing this production. She passed away last June. And so once that was really shocking and so sad, but I wanted to really honor her and bring this play back so that another generation of people could experience that. It's such a powerful story, and it's full of humor. And there's all kinds of connections to be made in the story from the lessons that she passed on through this play.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, the older I get, the more I'm always like, yeah, listen to your elders, you know? Like, there is some knowledge.
Especially black women.
Yes, 1,000%. There's reading through the press release, I mean, you've employed a choreographer. There's a musical director. What was your process as you were approaching this text of Shaking the Mess Out of Misery?
The process is really to follow what the stories are that laid out in the play, and it calls for there's some music that's referenced in the play, but we put more than that was there. We decided to add different types of music, so I wanted to work with Sean Wallace, who worked on the 2017 production, so I brought Sean back, and Tangi Harper is our choreographer, and I wanted to add more movement. There is the character of our protagonist's mother is a dancer, and so while she doesn't have dialogue, she doesn't need dialogue in the play. Sorry, I meant dialogue. She is present, and so there's a moment in the play where, in terms of her trying to realize her dreams to become a professional dancer, what that is, and so it called for choreography, and so I was pleased to be able to bring Tangi Harper on board to provide that choreography for us.
And that, to me, is one of the most wonderful things about seeing live theater is you have a character who is silent but can speak through their physical movement, through their body. And that's something that, to me, is just so unique about live theater because it makes life theatrical. That sounded so silly, but there's something about how making a heightened reality where you're able to convey ideas, emotions, and thoughts just through your physicality and through your body that might not be as easily translatable through language alone.
Exactly, I totally agree. And also, so there's the physicality of it, and then sometimes it's, because this is not a musical, it is a play with music, and the idea, sometimes ideas that you're wanting to get across, the dialogue alone is not enough. It does call for singing, that, once you want to bring across more emotion, then that song will tell you that. It will connect you to a moment in time, a moment in your own development as a human being, right? So sometimes it just, music is the way to do it. Mm-hmm. So that was part of our process from the beginning in our rehearsals, looking not only at with these stories that the women convey, that these black women convey, and how the young character is connecting and learning from them, but we mind our own histories as well. How do we connect? We always want to know from an actor how they connect to that from their own life experience and their own lived experiences, and finding people who remind you of the characters in a book or in a play, and so that's part of that process. Is just delving into the storyline, into the stories, and into the moments in the play that can resonate, and how we want to connect those so that our audience can also connect and resonate and find meaning and memory through these words.
Yeah, well, it also seems the play is set in the 1960s, which was a very turbulent time, and right now in 2025, I don't think things could get more turbulent. But there seems to be echoes of the 60s happening right now. What do you hope audiences take away when they go see Pegasus Theater Chicago's production of Shaking the Mess Out of Misery?
I would love that audiences would take away how we can come together as a community, a larger community, to solve some of the challenges that we're facing right now, so that we can look at the past and be able to use those lessons to help us navigate the present.
Well, and there's always lessons that we need to learn from the past, because clearly history repeats itself. But speaking of the past, are any of your ensemble, because you have an incredible ensemble of actors, were any of them in the 2017 production, or is this a whole new group of artists?
It is mostly a new group, but there are 3 actors in the show that were in that production. So Felicia McNeil, Deborah Neal, and Stacey Devlin are actors that are returning.
All right, so we've got some old, some new coming together to create something new and powerful. If you are looking for a wonderful evening at the theater, Pegasus Theater Chicago presents Shea Youngblood's Shaking the Mess Out of Misery, directed by Elijah Duncan. It runs through June 15th at Chicago Dramatists. For tickets, head to pegasustheaterchicago.org, and that's theater with an R-E because they are fancy that way. Elijah, thank you so much for taking time out. I know this is a hectic time. You are in the middle of previews, getting ready to open. So break all of the legs as you continue your journey towards opening night, and have a fabulous run.
Thank you so much, and we hope to see you there.
Absolutely.
Keep up the great work,
Again,
Elijah.
Pegasus Theater Chicago presents Shea Youngblood's Shaking the Mess Out of Misery, directed by Elijah Duncan. It runs through June 15th at Chicago Dramatists. For tickets, you can visit pegasustheaterchicago.org. We should probably take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be speaking with Will Wilhelm, whose hit solo show, dare I say, Gender Play, or What You Will, is now part of the Steppenwolf Lookout series. So stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
I'm Jane Iyer with Tricone Chicago. Welcome back to Out Chicago on WCPT.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller. And hey, Monday on Driving It Home, Patty Vasquez will be joined by social media influencer and candidate for Congress, Kat. Oh no, they gave me things to read, and I'm going to screw up someone's last name. Kat oh gosh, do you know?
Oh, is this what the person that's running against Jan Schakowsky, right?
Sure, for Karen Kat.
Abzaleh, I'm not going to get it.
Abzaleh, I'm so sorry. And positivity.
Abugazela. All
right, well, that's on Paul. Thank you.
Do you know who she is?
Not yet, but I'm going to be tuning into Patty Vasquez on Monday.
Influencer that announced that she was going to take Jan Schakowsky's spot.
All righty, well,
Schakowsky, I think, since dropped out.
All righty, and you can tune in, and we can actually stop screwing up the pronunciation of her name. I know. And also on Monday, I'm Driving It Home, positivity expert Jen Zanotti with some Monday motivational advice. Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Central on WCPT 820 AM, the Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook. That's a lot of social media stuff that's going on there. And, I like people who are savvy with social medias and things, and just savvy people in general, which is why I absolutely adore our next guest, who is super savvy and ding-dong a doorbell. adore them so much. We've actor, writer, educator, activist, and all-around fabulous human being. Will Wilhelm is currently performing a revival of their hit solo show, Gender Play, or What You Will, as a part of Steppenwolf's Lookout series. And joining us now is none other than Will Wilhelm. Hello, Will.
Hi, Scott. How are you?
I am well. How are you, Will?
I'm great. So good to talk to you.
So good to talk to you. Congratulations. I did get to see you in person a couple weeks ago. It made me very, very happy. Filled my soul.
Where did you guys meet?
We just ran into each other. We had our own New York moment in Chicago. We just ran into each other.
Exactly.
It's fabulous. How is the show going? You started this week.
Yes, the show is going so well. I'm 3 performances in. I have another one in a couple hours at Steppenwolf, and then we're performing next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's actually a part of a tour for the show.
I know.
Yeah, so this is actually my second city in a series of 5 throughout the spring and summer. So, yeah, like you said, it's a revival. It's a brand new production. The show premiered in Chicago 2 years ago with About Face Theater, where you and I are both very closely connected. Mm-hmm. And so this is a full-on reimagination of that show after that world premiere went so well. And so I'm grateful to be touring it to other places, but also it's really, really extra special and magical to have it come through here at home where it all started.
And where were you just now where you did it, Will? And how was it received?
I actually was in Indianapolis. I performed at the Phoenix Theater, and it was received so well. So the Indianapolis Shakespeare Company is like the originating producer, and their production is what's touring around. I didn't know a ton about Indy. You know, I know a lot about Indiana politics, and so that made me feel not super.
Right. None of it good. Right.
Not so great. But, you know, the show is so queer. It's so trans, but it's like extremely joy-centered. It's all about celebrating our experiences and sort of just like locating what queer experiences is and sort of the trans vocabulary that we have now and just locating that sentiment within our history. And so people were coming from all over the state to come see the show. And I think there's just like less there's less access to resources. Mm-hmm. There's less trans community maybe, but that doesn't mean that there are less trans people.
Right.
And so it was crazy to be walking through the streets like downtown Indy, you know, and I'm used to Chicago. I live in Andersonville. I see like extremely visibly queer people all the time. People are holding hands, kissing. And obviously I'm not seeing that as much in Indianapolis, but then I would walk into the theater and literally be like, where did all of these queer people come from?
You gave a safe space. That's beautiful for them to come.
Yeah. So it was awesome. I had people, you know, it was a 3-week run, but I had people come back multiple times throughout the course of that, and it was really awesome.
Well, that says everything right there.
Well, now, so Will, you mentioned that it began in 2023 with About Face Theater. Can you remind folks, you know, and we got to have the conversation when you were getting ready to premiere this. Can you remind folks about how this play came about?
Absolutely, yeah. So I went to college in Chicago. I went to Northwestern and have been based here ever since. Go Cats!
Go Cats!
And I my first like really regional out of town gig was I was a company member at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival for 2 years, which is our country's biggest Shakespeare festival.
Yes, it is amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I went out there to like do a lot of like create a lot of roles that were genderqueer specific in a classic canon. And they were really awesome, really supportive, and also were like, we've never really done this before. So like, you know, we want to do it with you, but also we need help figuring out how and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. Not that they were like, you know, there's a history of like gender bending and cross gender, I'm giving air quotes, performance, but like to approach Shakespeare's canon with like specific gender fluidity and gender queerness, I think was like new for them. And so when I got back from that experience, it was really rewarding, and I had been having conversations with a friend and collaborator of mine. Her name is Erin Murray, and we talked about how we could could maybe I was curious to take the feeling that I had from my 2 years at Oregon Shakespeare Festival and basically be like, how could I create an entire worldview that's based on this? Not like I'm doing a genderqueer thing in the context of a larger picture, of a larger ensemble, but like what if whatever I was doing on the sidelines became the whole immersive world? And so Genderclay kind of was born out of that. So it takes Shakespeare's really iconic characters and sort of reimagines them as trans, non-binary people. But it's very, like, the whole show is very witchy. We summon the spirit of Shakespeare himself. It's, like, ritualistic. It's a seance. The audience is very as involved in it as they want to be. Mm-hmm. There's always, people who are like really jazzed for that and people who want to sit in the back row and just sort of observe. But it's an open invitation to be as present as you want to be. So I think for that reason, it's a little bit different than people are used to attending the theater, but it's really, really, really freaking fun. And it's a total party.
Total party and a complete celebration. So in your journey with this play, how has it evolved? You started, and I'm sure like every night, I mean, this is true for all live theater. Every night is different just because the people, but in something that is more immersive and potentially interactive. But how has the show evolved? Do you feel, I will stop there.
Yeah. Of course, I, as a performer in the last 2 years, have evolved. And when I started the show, it was something that I wrote and, like, really scared myself into doing. Mm-hmm. Like, I wrote what I thought was the perfect showcase of all of the things that I really wanted to do, but in my heart of hearts, I did not know if I could do them until I gave myself permission to. So last time I talked to you when we were doing that world premiere, I think I was still in the process of learning, like, oh, I can do this. Right. Oh, it is going well. Oh, people are getting what I want them to get out of it. And so now I've done it in, other cities, and so I've had the opportunity to walk in the space knowing what I have to offer, and so I feel like I've grown so much as a performer. But the production itself has also grown. Something when we sort of like went back to the drawing board, the design is completely new from the world production. So whole new gorgeous set, gorgeous costumes, all this awesome stuff. But something that I really wanted to explore that we didn't get really a chance to the first time was the idea of magic, like both stage magic, but also infusing the play itself with more moments of magic. Because, yes, that's fun and interesting to watch in a live setting, but I think that it also, is a powerful metaphor for just, the experience of queerness itself. I know that, people are like, yeah, queer people, we're magic, blah, blah, blah. But I mean literally, our relationship with magic is that we're looking at something we don't understand and we don't know how to explain it, but we're delighted by it. And I wish that is what more people who maybe did not experience queerness firsthand were able to, I wish that was the vantage point on queerness. Do you know what I mean? I don't maybe know that I understand it. I don't know that I could explain it, but I know I'm in awe and I love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, are you speaking as somebody within the community or somebody without or both? Yeah.
And I think as queer people, we're more comfortable not having the answer to everything, or knowing that not everything is what it looks like on the outside. And so, yeah, when we went down to Indianapolis, the artistic director, his name is Ryan Artsberger, when we were putting together the team, I was like, I think we should have a magic consultant on this play.
Okay.
Which is, not a normal part of a production team. But he was like, okay, work, great. We got this awesome magician. Their name is Taylor Martin from Indianapolis, who taught me a bunch of stuff and came in with these are all of these props. These are all of these cards. This is basically came in with a suite of options. And I was like, what do you want to do? And I tried a bunch. Some of them I could do. Some of them I could not. But I learned a bunch of things. And and now there's more just actual literal magic in the show, which I think is so cool and helps to just amp up the mysticism vibes of this spiritual thing we're all going to do together.
So, Will, were there any moments during the development of your performance that were like especially cathartic or even challenging?
Yeah, I mean, well, like I said, I think in the development of it, I was trying to give myself the space that I had kept asking other people for. You know what I mean? To be like, I can play these roles, I can exhibit. You know, we're taking a lot of these like title roles, and I'm playing like a host of both male and female roles in the same night because, you know, as a non-binary performer, it's really important to me for the audience to feel like, you know, a gender identity. Gender is inherently performative, I think, in our contemporary world, but especially in the world of Shakespeare's plays on stage. Like, the history is that they're being performed by all men. So all men are performing maleness and all men are performing femaleness as a part of the show. And so when we get into, you know, all of this like current contemporary conversation on like, you know, whether drag is like appropriate or inappropriate to be around kids and all this kind of stuff, like this is such a history of performance that we have from something that we think is so like is the pinnacle of culture. Right. You know what I mean? And like, so anyway, the moments of my own like developing the performance that I think have been most cathartic, has just been like knowing that you can give yourself permission to do the things that you want to do, and actually they kind of go better that way. Yeah. I love theater. I love acting. I love performing. I love steam partners. I love big plays. And I'm so proud of a lot of the ensemble work that I've been able to do, especially in Chicago, which is such, you know, ensemble-driven place. But it's completely different to walk into the theater knowing that you literally, you know, for all of the words that weren't Shakespeare's, like, you know, I created the rest of it. And so I just walk into the space having no questions about what I'm doing, what the purpose is. I feel so like locked in every single night, and every single night is different because we invite the audience to make a mark on the play, and at least, you know, the structure of the show is such that at least a couple audience members like really, really do change the vibes and what happens that day. So no two performances have ever been alike.
Of course not. You know, and Will, I'm being filled with joy for you about having that journey as a solo performing artist. And it's causing me to reflect back to my time, like with About Face Theater in 2003. We were working on the world premiere of I Am My Own Wife, and we created a new works festival about it. And I was basically dared to do a solo piece, and it scared the crap out of me. That's what and what you were talking about in terms of like knowing that you don't need to ask permission. You can do this. It's within you, and you have the power and the capacity and beyond the talent to do it. It just kind of fills my heart that you are, you know, having had a similar journey, because without that journey for me, I would never have done stand up. You know, I probably wouldn't be in radio. You know, there's all of these things. And now, because, you know, as an artist, I just think it's just so wonderful. So congratulations on giving yourself that gift.
Much. And Scott, you and I met, like, I don't even know what the year was, 2012 or 13 or something, doing We Three Lizas at the Steppenwolf Garage when I was a student in college still. I was an understudy. And like,
you were my understudy, which was the craziest thing. Because if you've seen Will and I do not look alike at all. I mean, in any way. So, but it was, that way that's always been. I was like, what an incredible young artist this is, as you were still in school.
Thank you. I mean, go Cats. But no, that was my first time working with About Face, and obviously About Face Theater is such a huge part of the reason why gender play, I mean, it is the reason why gender play exists, and has been able to get to this point. And I just remember being, not like I was shy or quiet or whatever, but I remember feeling in those rooms when I was starting to meet people, like I have this conception of myself and who I want to actualize into, but it feels so far away from who I am right now. And, you know, I was so caught up in just like trying to do everything right and make sure everyone liked me, all that kind of stuff. And now, like, it's more than 10 years later, and I'm just a couple doors down in the same complex, but it feels like such a full circle coalescing of something that I really hoped I could do, you know, at the time when we met. And so, yeah, I feel so much more capable, so much more powerful. I love that you said that thing about stand-up, because I feel like before we really dive heavy into the Shakespeare, there's a first section of this play that's kind of like, you know, welcoming the audience, setting the rules of the space, all that sort of stuff. But I think of it very much like a stand-up act because I want to get people comfortable, of course, give them some jokes, but it's also like my opportunity to like get everyone settled into this place that feels like my parlor or my living room or my bedroom or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's really fun to like flex those like MC sort of skills to be like anything could happen. I kind of love when something goes wrong or when something weird happens in the audience, because it just gives you the opportunity to acknowledge and play with it and banter with it. And then the audience feels so comfortable, like, oh, anything could happen here and we're going to be taken care of.
We're totally going to be taken care of. Yeah.
If Shakespeare were alive today, Will, and came to see gender play, what do you think they'd say?
So the play is about Will and I like sort of becoming best friends through this seance and through this journey that we go on together, where Will, the playwright, has a need of Will, the performer, and the need is that he's not really being preserved in a way that feels true to who he is in his actual life. And me, Will, the actor, is seeking out for guidance from Will, the playwright, because I know that there's more of a history for me than I'm being given. And so I think that if Will, the playwright, showed up and watched gender play, I think he would say, "Go off, bestie." And
I think Shakespeare would be jealous of your hair.
I think
he'd have a crush. Who knows?
And there is a lot about Shakespeare's actual life and his like perceived lovers, and he like used the sonnets as a groundwork for that, which is just like so beautiful and interesting and really one of my favorite parts of the play. And there are these famous like lost years of Shakespeare's life, and after he leaves his home, Stratford-upon-Avon, and before he arrives in London and starts, taking that theater scene by storm. And so there are lots of clues of the people he knows and the people he met and the people he dedicated his work to. But I did write him like a love story that went into those like empty years. And I don't know. I think if Will showed up, we would have the opportunity to like really honestly say thank you to each other.
Beautiful.
Oh, stop it.
I love that.
I love that.
Thank you, Will.
I love it. I know right now you are in the middle of a tour. Just real quick, and you probably have answered it, but I know with this full circle moment of like, starting out, you're an undergrad. You are understudying at the Steppenwolf Garage. You're now in the 1700 Theater, which is an incredible space. What is it like presenting this work back in Chicago?
Oh my gosh, it's so amazing. I mean, even just having done the last few, weeks in Indianapolis, my amazing director, Emily Tarquin, who's based in Louisville, they are the interim managing director of Actors Theater of Louisville. The show will be there in June. So they came to, be there for the days of tech and preview here at Steppenwolf, and we did the first show, and afterwards they were like, whoa, like I've seen you do this so many times now, and I've like never seen you do the Hamlet section like that. And the way it's sort of framed is like so based off of not only my experiences in Chicago growing up and like being in clubs like Berlin and like really having space to like find what feels like authentic space for me to be taking up in the world, but it's so much about like really commiserating with the ghost of that person that initially met you, Scott, that, that still lives within me, and really, having a lot of understanding and for the reasons why that person was like really not doing well and was really scared. And, so there's just like this, it feels like this moment of like healing. And because it is a seance and because it is casting a spell, I just like feel more, whole every time. And so Emily was like, wow, I that happened so differently in a way I wasn't used to. And I was like, yeah, because I'm in Chicago. I'm standing right here in the city and in the building, like where all of these things happened. So it's really always extra special to be here. I pride myself on being a Chicago theater artist. I do take a lot of work across the country from coast to coast because that's where they pay me.
That's what you got to do. Yeah.
Spread the love.
Exactly. But I always consider myself a Chicago theater artist. I do think that like technically the way that I perform and the way that I try to bring honesty and authenticity into what I do, I think is directly from my experiences growing up in the storefront scene specifically. So I love Chicago. I love performing for Chicago audiences, and I'm really grateful I get another week to do it.
And we love you, and we are so grateful that you do get another week to perform. Don't miss Will Wilhelm in Gender Play, or What You Will. It's part of Steppenwolf's Lookout series. It runs through May 24th. So, and we're in May-cember right now. It's a little chilly, not really sunny. Go to the theater and enjoy.
Exactly.
For tickets, go to steppenwolf.org. Will, again, I wasn't just saying those things about like, you're just a wonderful human being. You really are just a wonderful human being. And to hear your story as a human and as an artist about how this particular show and your process and your time with it, you've gone on a journey both on as a human and as an artist, and I'm just so freaking proud of you. Like it's great, and it's so freeing, and I cannot wait to see what comes from you in the years to come, because you are definitely a creative force.
And how many people you're inspiring by your performance. Yeah. That's so important to the queer community.
I'm the product of a lot of love, and it's not only from family. It's not only my birth family. It's the chosen family. I'm standing in the bedroom of my best friend's house, and everyone is out in the other room right now. So I'm just surrounded by so much amazing queer love, and this play is just me trying to offer that back out into the world.
Well, put love out, take the love in, and everybody go see Gender Play, or What You Will, in Steppenwolf. It runs through May 24th. Will Wilhelm, break all the legs, and I'm just going to send you little winkies loves. I don't know why I'm doing that, but I'm sending you a winky love.
Okay.
Until the next time.
Yes. All right. We've got to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is the final thrilling, show-stopping moments about Chicago right here on WCPT.
Hi, this is Renee Taylor. You're listening to Out Chicago, WCPT 820.
And we are back. Scott is almost back. Hey, Scott.
Hi. I had to use the bathroom. That was a shorter break than what was going on.
Know.
Paul.
It was a surprise.
Hello. I know. I heard Renee. I was in washing my hands. I'm still got my hands.
He's got his hands. Well, you washed your hands. That's
I know.
Good.
And I heard hi.
I'm Renee Taylor.
I heard Renee Taylor, and I'm like, oh no.
I want to get her back.
You're a ding dong, Paul.
I want to get her
Always keeping it fresh and fun.
Yes, it is.
After all these years, can you believe I was doing the math? The Pride Parade broadcast, which we do every year, live from the Center on Halsted, that's going to be show number 600.
Wow.
What the what?
That doesn't count the one I did before.
No, I mean out Chicago.
Chicago.
Not because that was you were just did. I know the year before you did the Pride Parade thing, but it wasn't
before we invented.
But it wasn't
Chicago.
our show.
That's true. It wasn't our show. It was the Pride Parade. Yeah,
I know, Helen. You get credit for that first one, of course.
I take my credit for the first one.
There you go. But anyway, I thought that was a pretty cool thing, and thank you for taking the wind out of my sails on that one.
Oh, come on! You got a lot of wind. You got a little
I
wind.
got a lot of wind going on.
600th show.
It's our 600th show, and that's going to be.
Oh,
that's bananas.
God willing, and the creek don't rise.
Right? And then, as we said earlier, on June 1st, Ellen and I are going to be the grand marshals of the Buffalo Grove family-friendly Pride Parade, and we're going to be doing a live broadcast from there from 11 to 1. Ken Mejia Beal, our good buddy, is going to be taking the first hour while we go through the parade route, and then we're going to hop off. And
how long is the parade route? It's short, right?
It's short, yeah. It's not like the Chicago.
It's like less than an hour to get through?
Yeah. I think because we were there for the very first Pride Parade.
You were there, yeah. I didn't get to but yeah, we were here. I was in the studio. You were there.
I was there, and I think it was, it was
probably about
45 minutes for the whole thing. But,
fun.
it'll be a great parade. I know. I'm very excited about that.
I'm excited, too.
Very
I've
honored.
got some friends coming out and some people that live out there coming out. My brother and his partner are threatening to come out. And if you're listening and you are in the suburbs or you just want to, in the city, you want to get out to the suburban Pride celebration that they're doing in Buffalo Grove, come on out.
Yeah. Go to check out the Pinta Pride Project.com.
They're wonderful people. It's a wonderful family.
Mm-hmm.
We've had them on here so many times. It's always a joy.
We've been with them from the very beginning of it. So, and they are tireless champions of the LGBTQ plus community. They've done incredible work out in the suburbs, especially in Buffalo Grove, to get the city on board to just, again, champion equality.
And it wasn't easy in the beginning, I think, for them. They had to break through a lot of walls, and once they did, now it's a regular event, which is great. It's an annual event there, and it's needed. We need visibility everywhere. The city always has a great Pride Parade, but it's important to get out to people who don't see as much diversity, perhaps potentially. And so,
it's going to be a fabulous time.
Yeah.
So that's June 1st.
June 1st.
And we'll be doing June 29th from the Center on Halstead.
Always a great day.
Always a good day. Always good times. Always good.
Always fun. It's it usually never rains. We've had a little, but not too bad.
Are you kidding me? The first time that I did the Pride Parade broadcast and you were on the float, it rained and it stopped the parade.
Oh, I know.
And I had an hour and a half left of live radio.
That was the only time that ever happened.
I know. And it was like, what?
And it was you were hosting. I was on, we never even made it out of the gate. I mean, we just got drenched and went home.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy times.
But usually that doesn't happen. That was a very
that was a weird time. Usually it's always beautiful on Pride.
It's a beautiful day on Pride.
Always beautiful on Pride Day.
Yes.
Also, hey, it's going to be beautiful tomorrow on Choose Views. Richard will be talking to Audra Moran, President and CEO of the Ovarian Cancer Research Alliance, and Mike Nellis, Democratic strategist, former senior advisor to Kamala Harris, and social impact entrepreneur. Choose Views weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. Central on WCPT, 8:20 a.m. The Heartland Signal website, tune in, YouTube, and the Face a Place. So since the weather has been kind of wackadoodle and everything, and, during the spring and summer and fall, I try to live outside.
Yes, you do.
We've been driving. We've been going back in. Because, the weather's been either really hot or dust storm or locusts or frogs.
All of the above.
We're trying to find, ideal spring movies and things that people that might not, that we feel like, oh, you really need to get your roses. And we rewatched It Seems Like Old Times with Goldie Hawn and Chevy Chase. And I
don't even remember the movie.
You don't remember it?
I remember hearing about it. I don't even know if I saw. What was it about?
Chevy Chase was Goldie Hawn used to be married, and now she's married to no, what's his name? Now I got to look it up. You're asking me the actor names, and it just disappeared right from my head.
Seems Like Old Times.
It's a Neil Simon movie, and it's I keep wanting to say Josh Groban, but that's not right. It's. Anyway, they're married. It's one of these weird little It was a very special movie for Jerry. So we watched
Charles Grodin.
Charles Grodin. Thank you so much. How did we ever get Charles Grodin? This is what I want to know.
Yeah, I don't know.
He just kind of magically appeared, and we're very happy. And then he kind of finished off his career with Beethoven movies.
Well, he had that talk show for a while on CNBC.
Yeah, he did have a talk show.
Yeah.
I
forgot
always
all
liked
about
his
that.
Letterman appearances because he'd be like, I didn't realize it was a bit until I was older. Like when I was a kid, I was like, man, that guy sure is grumpy.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, they were. But it's just like a little. I mean, just a little fluffy piece.
Yeah.
It made a huge moment. But like Goldie Hawn, she really I believe she won an Academy Award.
For a Private Benjamin?
No. For like, not Butterflies Are Free. Cactus flower.
Cactus flower.
I think she won.
Carl Malden was in that, I think.
All right, sure. But but she's one of these people that she just lights up a screen. And every time I see her, I'm like, oh my gosh, is Kate Hudson her daughter or what? Like, they smile the same. She understands how to work the camera the same. Like, it's just great. But in Goldie, I always feel like she never really got her, her flowers. I could be wrong about that.
Well, I think she's a legend to many people.
Yeah.
I mean, I started watching her as a kid on Laugh-In.
Yeah. And I think that's probably what haunted her for most of her career is that because on Laugh-In she played such the ditzy blonde so well that people are like, it took time for them to understand that, like, no, she's really smart and she's a very fun, she's a good actor. And also she just has that something that the camera loves her.
They love her. She's got a face and she has expressions that people relate to. She's like a friend, but she's a funny friend. Yeah. She's a talented friend. She did get the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress and the Golden Globe for her role in Cactus Flower in 1969.
That's what I thought.
Was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actress for Private Benjamin. Did not win it, but was nominated in 1980. She was in Butterflies Are Free.
She's done so much.
Foul Play seems like old times.
Foul Play is another one that was a big.
Overboard. I remember that. I think she met. She was
Kurt Russell.
With Kurt Russell on that. I was a big fan as a kid, obviously, because seeing her from television go to these movies that were very accessible at the time.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It was just one of those things that kind of popped up into our heads about she doesn't really get all the flowers that she really deserves.
So many women don't.
That's true.
Actors.
That's true. Another springtime favorite of mine actually it's an anytime movie that anybody should watch and everybody should watch all the time. It's What's Up, Doc? With Barbara Streisand and Ryan O'Neal and Madeline Kahn making her screen debut, who basically walks away with the entire picture.
Yeah, she was great.
It is, if we're talking about finding joy and finding things that will bring you joy, if you have not seen this movie, you've got to check it out. It is just a screwball comedy that is so smart and so funny and so sexy.
And they were so great together.
They were phenomenal together.
I love the chemistry.
The chemistry between Barbara Streisand, come on, Barbara. She is so young and sexy and juicy and so funny. Quick. And Ryan O'Neal is just like this beefcake.
Yeah, I was a big crush. Love story, of course, had already happened. So if you're a young teen in that era, it was all about Ryan O'Neal.
Yes.
Peyton Place on television, and then.
Let's see, I wasn't.
Yeah, you were too young.
I'm sorry, I wasn't.
But I watched it before. Kids my age were not watching it, but I was.
Yeah, of course.
Because,
Ryan O'Neal. But I don't know. I think there's something about, it's also, to me, it's one of those quintessentially queer movies, and I'm not quite sure if it's because of Barbara Streisand and Madeline Kahn, but there's just something so offbeat, delightful, wacky. Peter Bogdanovich does an incredible job directing. San Francisco is another character in the whole movie.
I gotta watch it again. It's been a long time, but it appeals it would appeal
good
to the queer audience. Yeah,
but I think Jerry and I have talked about this many times. We've done this actually with folks about introducing the queer canon to younger folks. So we'll have people over for movie nights, and we're like, okay, this might not necessarily be queer, but it definitely is queer. Like, introduce them to things like What's Up, Doc? Or Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? Apparently all movies with questions as their titles. But things like Xanadu or The Women, the original The Women, the Joan Crawford, and so good.
I love the classics. Sometimes I just go watch black and white movies.
But not even just, but it's specifically movies that are part of the queer canon.
Yeah.
You know, and a great primer for everybody out there too, if you're looking for queer cinema stuff, is the documentary The Celluloid Closet. It came out a long time ago, and it's actually, we rewatched it rather recently. Just to see how far we have come, because it follows queer representation in Hollywood from the beginning up until, I guess, the movie came out in like the late 90s. The Celluloid Closet.
A lot has changed since then.
A lot has changed, and a lot of things have stayed the same, which is remarkable. But if you, I don't know, as we are about to experience a week of Maycember, heading into Suckers and Losers
some indoor
weekend.
Fun for you.
Yeah. There we are. But just some things to think about.
Very cool.
There we are.
That's a good thing to think about. Shameless plug. Next Sunday, Nelson Street Revival kicks off the festival season at the Belmont Sheffield Music Fest. We're going at 6:30 at the Sheffield stage, which is literally at Belmont Sheffield. Come check us out. It'll be a beautiful night.
Come on. It'll be fun.
Yep.
It'll be fun. And that's going to do it for this week's Out Chicago. I want to thank all of our guests, Alderwoman Lenny Minna Hoppenworth, Alasia Duncan, and Will Wilhelm. Paul, so nice to have you here. I wish you could have given me enough time to dry my hands.
Oh, it made for an exciting.
Come on, Paul. Henry, thank you so much for doing everything back there. Ella Miller, welcome back.
Thank you.
Enjoy this week as we head into Memorial Day weekend, or as Ding Dong refers to it, Suckers and Losers weekend. And I am Scott Duff, and until next week, stay proud.